Hi everyone, I'm dropping by today to talk to you about networking. It's the most important thing that none of us have time to do. And as we're all climbing out of our winter caves, at least here in Canada, I thought it would be a good moment to drop by and share a little bit about what I've learned in terms of effective networking tactics. I've always been a networker. I've always pushed myself to network because although I may seem extroverted, I'm actually fairly introverted. I have that dual personality thing going on. I'm an extroverted introvert. So I do need to work and practice my networking. So I wanted to share a couple of tips with you today. So first of all, if you're going into a new niche, or if you're looking to hone your skill set in networking, or just trying to engage with your industry in a bit of a different way, think about challenging yourself to go to your next networking event by yourself. Really put yourself out there. And once you arrive, take stock of the other solo networkers in the room, but don't feel pressure to dive in and start talking to somebody right away. You can take your time, take a few breaths, get yourself a drink or a coffee or a cup of tea, walk around the perimeter, understand your space. Don't feel that you have to automatically or on command just start adding value and running up to people and introducing yourself. It's okay for you to take up that silent, intentional space for a little bit to get your footing and understand kind of the lay of the land. When you're ready to start a conversation, approach somebody who is another solo networker because chances are they'll appreciate it. And my best advice for how to break the ice and start a conversation is just introduce yourself. Your name, where you work, get their name, get where they work. That's the first thing that you need to do. And your conversation will either take off or not take off, and you can assess from there. One last tip I want to share around how to position a question for the best results conversationally is once those pleasantries are done and you've gotten their name and where they work and maybe a little bit of detail around them, the best way I have found to frame a question is to position it as something that's relevant to their niche or their discipline or their industry, but also something that has a bit of a personal bent, a little bit of a personal lens on it. So for instance, if you were speaking to someone from the tech industry, you could say something like, wow, that industry is in a real state of upheaval right now, especially I'm sure in the areas that you work in. What has that been like for you? And just wait. When I worked in journalism eons ago, I got some really great advice from an executive producer on one of the shows I worked on. It was blend in, color out. It's a journalist's trick. So when you say things like, what was that like for you? How did that make you feel? Therapist trick. Or what did you make of that? You give the person the opportunity to fill in the blanks and share their story, and it shows a genuine interest, and most people will respond well to that. So those are my networking tips, and just to clue up, if you're looking for that networking event that you want to attend solo, we're having one. Drift, my company, is hosting its first live in-person networking event on May 11th at 6:30 in downtown Toronto. You can check us out on Eventbrite. And we're trying something new. We're going to do facilitated networking. So I want this to be the most inclusive experience possible, and I want to spark great conversations. That's my passion, sparking great conversations in the strategic HR discipline. So if you come, you'll have the opportunity to meet and network with other industry professionals in a very safe setting with lots of conversation starters and lots of interesting things to weigh in on. As an example, one of our networking stations is going to feature these cards, which are amazing. They're from the School of Life. It's called 100 Questions, a Toolkit for Careers. So we're going to have these conversation starters posted up or on cocktail tables, and it's just one of the ways that we're looking to inspire great dialogue and to take a little bit of the edge away from making a foray into the networking space. I mean, I know we've just all come out of a pretty insulated time, so we all need a little bit of help to get those conversations going. So for example, some of the questions that you might get to weigh in on or have a conversation about are, if you didn't worry about failure, what might you try doing? That's a good one. Or How might a job be creative even though it doesn't lead to any obviously creative output? Really, really interesting. And I know these are super formal and it seems a little stiff right now, but these are awesome conversation starters. And at my event, at Drift's event, we're going to be focusing on intersectionality at work. We're going to have incredible panelists. The whole idea of the evening is to have amazing conversations in a great space. So I really hope to see you there. There will be info and details about how to register for that in the text of the post. And yeah, it'll be a great time. And even if you don't come, start working on your networking. It's not that hard, and it gets easier as you go.